Like I said, I am the greatest woman of all time because she couldn't do nothing with me. Zero.
Here we go!
One week away from the GWOAT returning to boxing competition. She's going to be facing Vanessa Lepage Joanisse for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. Now, we obviously announced this fight, and we'll make sure we put the announcement video we'll make sure we connect it to this video as well. However, as I was watching this fight, this is a very interesting matchup. And the reason why it's so interesting is because if Claressa Shields, is going to take Vanessa lightly, then she's going to lose this fight. Because Vanessa, let me tell you something about Vanessa. And I'm not saying this to hype up the fight or anything like that. Vanessa is a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like Vanessa can scrap. You know, she's got a ton of heart, she's got a ton of chin, and we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, we are talking about the GWOAT, Claressa Shields, 14-0. And here she is. I mean, two-time Olympic gold medalist, multiple time undisputed champion. I mean, there's so many great things we can say about Claressa Shields. She truly is the GWOAT, or so we say. Obviously, there's always going to be the argument between her versus Layla Ali, but we talked about it in the announcement episode. If she's able to beat Vanessa and win the heavyweight championship, I think that shuts down the argument. So with that being said, before we get there, let's break down Claressa Shields. Breezy, I'm going to have you start off first. Give me your breakdown, Claressa Shields' strengths, weaknesses, and keys to victory.
She has a nice jab, very patient. Not only that, too, but she stands behind the jab. She sits on her punches, too. Likes to cut the ring off and pushes fighters back against the ropes. She's also very effective against the ropes. Now, although she may not have the utmost power, she does have enough pop on her punches to get that respect. And when she does that, she puts her punches together and she does them in combinations. Claressa Shields can also attack the body. She can also headhunt at times. Now, as far as like weaknesses, I'll say this, right? Sometimes when Claressa Shields get in the moment, she tends to throw those rapid punches and she tends to get caught sometimes. Not only that too, but sometimes Claressa Shields tends to drop that guard. And that's something you don't ever want to do in this sport. But I say this as far as Claressa Shields. She's a big girl, naturally strong. Not only that too, but she does have moments where she does use her head movement and she does use lateral movement too. So my keys to victory for her would be box this fight on the outside. You know, you can do both. She can box on the inside and the outside. If she chooses to do so, the fight can really go to however she wants to do it. She's a really nice stylistic boxer. I feel like this is a nice matchup, especially for her style too. You know, keys to victory for Claressa Shields: keep the jab on her, cut the ring off of her, push her against the ropes. At times, try to keep the fight in the middle, mix your punches up. Not only that too, but don't try to get into a swing fest with Vanessa. You try to get into a swing fest with Vanessa, how we've seen in plenty of times in the sport of boxing. Somebody can get caught, somebody can get dropped, or somebody can get their lights put out. So either way, you know, as far as the strengths and the weaknesses, you know, that goes for Claressa Shields. She's really got to play this fight real safely and carefully and keep this fight in the middle.
About Claressa Shields is she got a good tempo. She's able to really make a lot of her fights full speed. A lot of her fights, you know, they're basically sped up. They're going at a certain rate, and she's always controlling the tempo. You know, if she wants it to be more of a calm fight where she's waiting to pick and choose her punches, she can do it that way. If she wants to make it more of a fast fight where she pushes the opponents against the ropes and starts brawling on them, she can do it that way too. Every single fight that Claressa Shields has been in, she's been able to push the tempo and pick it up. Another thing about her is Claressa Shields got great stamina. I mean, we've seen the record 14-0 and only 2 knockouts, but I mean, you do the math, that's 12 fights where you went the distance and won. So the distance has been very kind to Claressa Shields. What I like about her too, she has a very good left jab. That left jab, you know, it sticks very well and she relies on it a lot. The other thing about Claressa Shields is she's very good at the little footwork, the little foot movement. So there'll be times where boxers really have to use their footwork and get out the way. Claressa Shields is good at moving her foot just the right inch or, just the right way to where she can land a good connect on her opponent. And that's what I respect about her is her footwork's not always going to be taking 2, 3 steps back, or it's not going to always be giving herself space. Sometimes it'll be just her moving just the slightest inch to get that opening. And that's what I respect about Claressa Shields. The other thing about Claressa Shields, again, like you mentioned, she has great counterpunching. She has good head movement. She got good defense as well. Now, as far as the weaknesses with Claressa Shields, sometimes she over relies on that jab. And because she over relies on that jab, she doesn't throw enough power punches. You obviously talked about how she throws these wild swings and everything like that. But sometimes the problem is this. She throws those wild swings when the opponent's getting backed up, and that's cool. I mean, not really, because, you could get caught. However, with Claressa Shields, the problem is she's not throwing those power punches at the right times. It just seems like she's really adamant about sticking that person with the left jab or sticking that opponent with the left jab and then following with the right hand. But the problem is we don't see a lot of hooks from Claressa Shields unless she's backing the opponent up against the ropes. We don't see a lot of uppercuts from Claressa Shields. Sometimes the body work's just not there. Claressa Shields is a very good counterpuncher, and I would like to see her start using some of those power punches to counterpunch as well. And those are the moments in the fight where I want to see Claressa Shields use her power punches. Another thing is, too, when she has those wild swings, sometimes she loses her footwork as well. Claressa Shields got some nice footwork, but the problem with Claressa Shields is when she starts throwing those wild rabbit punches, like you said, and when she starts backing those opponents up against the ropes, the problem is her feet start to get sloppy. And if you find an opponent who can counterpunch you correctly and start using that power, I mean, she could catch her slipping. So for me, the keys to the victory for Claressa Shields is apply the pressure like you do every single fight. Counterpunch when Vanessa makes mistakes, because we'll get to it. She does make mistakes, and use more power punches as well. As long as you're able to do those 3 things, I think Claressa Shields will cruise to a victory. Now, you guys might be asking, well, why would Claressa Shields underestimate Vanessa? Well, Vanessa's 7-1. The one loss she had was a knockout. And a lot of people were saying, well, Claressa Shields is just going to mop the floor with this girl. Guess again. Let me tell you something about Vanessa. Vanessa, when she fought, I believe it was Alejandra, I forgot the girl's last name, Alejandra Jimenez. She wasn't in the best boxing shape. She wasn't in the best boxing shape. She was, I hate to say, and again, I'm all about, body positivity, everything like that, but she wasn't in boxing shape. She was a little bit overweight. She was overweight, it looked like, and it looked like she couldn't go 10 rounds. What happened? She lost. That was her only loss, and it was a TKO. Now, like I said, Vanessa is a tough boxer. I mean, she didn't get knocked down that fight. She kept getting hit. She kept trying to fight back, and the ref stopped the fight. There's been many times where Vanessa has had a bloody nose, where the doctors have checked her out, and she was able to fight through it and win. That's the type of fighter Vanessa is. That's a fighter that's not going to give up. And that's why I respect about Vanessa. Now, after that fight, you go look at her, it's like a completely different fighter, Breezy. I mean, she's more quick. She got better footwork. She's able to go 10 rounds more. She's not worrying about her gas tank. She's not one-dimensional. She has more head movement. After that fight, it's like she took a whole 360. It's not even the same fighter. And that's the Vanessa that I expect going into that ring against Claressa Shields. That's the fighter that I expect to give Claressa Shields some trouble. As far as strengths for Vanessa Lepage Joanisse, she has quick hands. She has drastic improvement. I mean, let's be real. You go and go and compare the two, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when I'm saying there is a difference. When she lost a lot of weight. She put herself in boxing shape, and she was able to go in there and dominate a lot of opponents. She has very good head movement. She's more of an inside fighter, and she does that very, very well. She's got a good jab, and she loves those counter hooks. She loves the counter right hook. And I believe that's a punch that Claressa Shields also needs to watch out for. Now, as far as weaknesses, left hook open. Her head is open for a left hook. And that's why I'm saying Claressa Shields needs to rely on those power punches, is because that left hook is there for the taking. But Claressa Shields, If she's just going to keep on throwing jabs and keep on throwing wild hooks when she only backs her up, I mean, it's not going to be a good fight. Claressa Shields should take advantage of that. She has an open body. The body has always been an easy target for Joanisse. And I believe that, again, power punches, Claressa Shields should start aiming for that body, and she should start aiming for the left hook as well. And she can't take constant pressure. That's what I saw in the Alejandra Jimenez fight. She couldn't take constant pressure. Alejandra Jimenez, when she backed her up, she would basically just kind of put her hands up and hope for the best. And then Jimenez clipped her. And then when she clipped her, that's when the fight went south. Before that, Vanessa was leading that fight. She was winning in the cards. And then it was just that one round, that round 3, where she took her foot off the gas and she lost. So that would, to me, would be her weaknesses. And last but not least, Vanessa Page doesn't let her hands go. Vanessa Lepage does not let her hands go. She'll throw these counters, she'll throw these 1-2 combinations, but she doesn't let those hands go. And that's what Vanessa Lepage needs to do, especially against somebody like Claressa Shields. With somebody like Claressa Shields, you have to let your hands go. You got to bring the pressure to her, and you got to let her know there are consequences for when you try to come forward. And that's what Vanessa Lepage is going to have to do. So for me, the keys to victory for defeating Claressa Shields would be chain your punches together. Don't just throw 1 or 2 punches at a time. Chain them together. Compact Claressa's space. So basically intrude on her space and don't allow Claressa Shields to get moving. Don't allow her feet to get moving, and don't allow her space to counterattack. And last but not least, she's obviously going to throw that jab like she does, Breezy. When she does, slip the jab and counter. That, to me, would be the 3 keys to victory for Vanessa Lepage. But I'm going to pass it on to you. You might have picked up on something that I might have not seen, and I'd love to hear your breakdown of Vanessa Lepage.
Strength, fast hands, like you said, does have a head movement, constant pressure, just like Claressa Shields. She does know how to go to the body and come to the head. Also does possess some nice combinations. As far as weakness, you touched on them before. Leaves the body open. Doesn't really do good on the ropes. When you get her on the ropes, it's almost like she becomes a shell, you know? And fighting somebody like Claressa Shields, who's one of her key game plans, is to get you up against the ropes. You know, that's a huge red flag right there. Now, as far as like coming forward and whatnot, she can come forward. And here and there, she had moments where she could box on the back foot. It's just when you get up against those ropes, where if you put her in a position where she has nowhere to go, you shut all that down. And not only that too, but she does have a nice jab too. Now, what she's going to have to do this fight, obviously, don't allow Claressa Shields to get you on the ropes. Catch her in between those punches, because Claressa Shields will get warmed up, and she's going to let those hands go, and she's going to let them go in a way where those hands are going to constantly come at you fast. What she can do, you can counter at the body, you can come up with an uppercut, counter in between those shots. Don't get up against the ropes. Go to Claressa Shields' body. I don't see too many women that go to Claressa Shields' body. Go to Claressa Shields' body. Mix it up for Claressa Shields. Fight pressure with pressure. Try to pressurize her.
I completely forgot about Vanessa Lepage. Vanessa Lepage is very good at level changing as well. She has this little move where, and obviously a lot of boxers have it, where she'll do a little flinch up to the top just to kind of get them to raise their hands a little bit, and she'll jab them in the body. And I believe that's a move that you could definitely use against Claressa Shields, and you could be successful with. But I'm going to let you continue, man. I just wanted to point that out.
That was my breakdown. You good. That was my breakdown.
Betting guys, Claressa Shields is a -3,000 favorite, while Vanessa Lepage is a +1,000 underdog. Now, unfortunately, we don't got the outcomes and which outcome is more favorable. However, with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to you, Breezy. There's going to be some people watching this episode who are bettors. And that's perfectly fine. But we got to give them the right information. We got to give them the right advice so that they can make that moolah, so that they can go home and they can provide for their families and do what they got to do with that cash. So with that being said, Breezy, you taking the underdog? You taking the obvious favorite? Who you got win this fight and how you see it happen?
I think as soon as the bell rings, I think Claressa Shields is going to hop on her like white on rice. And I think from that point on, Claressa Shields is going to figure her out first 2 rounds, 3, 4, 5. She's going to start picking it up. Now, that's not to say that Vanessa's not going to catch her. Vanessa might even catch her. And I'm not saying that she's going to hit the ground and whatnot. But what I'm saying is Vanessa's going to have her shots where she catches Claressa Shields in between those shots because, you know, it's pretty evident, you know, she's a counter puncher. She's going to catch you if you try to apply that pressure to her. But all in all, I just think the skills are going to be unmatched. And I think Claressa Shields, it might be a shutout. But I'm taking Claressa Shields for the UD. Claressa Shields by unanimous decision.
I think it's going to be similar to the Savannah Marshall fight. I do think that Lepage is going to have some success with her because I do think Lepage is a very improved boxer, and I do think that she is a very good boxer as well. She's not the same boxer that fought Jimenez. You know, she gotten significantly better after that fight. So I feel like in this fight, Vanessa Lepage is going to have a couple rounds, maybe one or two. That's as much as I'm going to give her. But I mean, we're talking about Claressa Shields in Detroit, Michigan, in her hometown. I don't like the odds for Vanessa Lepage winning this fight. So I got to go Claressa Shields win this fight by UD and becomes the new WBC Heavyweight Champion and solidifies herself as the greatest woman of all time. Now, with that being said, Breezy, I do want to let the people know that this fight is going to be on July 27th in the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, in Claressa Shields' home state of Michigan. Now, obviously, Claressa Shields, I believe she's from Flint, Michigan. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But regardless, this is her home. It might be Grand Rapids. It's one of those two. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, put it in the comments. But overall, in her home state in Michigan, Claressa Shields is looking for a fight. She's looking to win that World Heavyweight Championship, but she got to get through Vanessa Lepage Joanisse first. So with that being said, Breezy, I'm going to have you conclude this episode.
Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and some Saturdays, the Puncher's Point is live active. Be on the lookout for updates, post-fights, breaking news, announcements, anything of the sort to do with boxing. You know it's me. You know it's Mario. We constantly dropping content for y'all on the Puncher's Point. So without that, make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.